Hey, bricks and mortar retailers, welcome to this week's training. And this week's training is called the Omni Challenge. Channel. Wow, let's try that again. This week's training is called the Omni Channel Blueprint. I don't know why that's such a mouthful, but yeah, it is. So we're doing, I'm talking to you about how you can implement and create a seamless omni-channel experience within your bricks and mortar store. And really why this is so important for us. I think many of us as smaller bricks and mortar retailers, we're kind of confused about this term omni-channel. We hear it all the time, especially when it refers to bigger bricks and mortar retailers and how everyone's doing an omni-channel experience. But it's something that we need to implement in our stores, and it's something that you need to get started straight away if you haven't already done so. I think the main thing is here that many bricks and mortar retailers, we overcomplicate this whole thing about creating an omni-channel experience. So I'm going to run you through how you can implement that into your store today. Like every second Thursday, as always, there is a worksheet. If you want a copy of the worksheet, just pop the word worksheet below and you can have everything. This is the worksheet on how to create this omni-channel experience within your bricks and mortar store. So let's just roll straight into it. Well, let's see. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, so the major problem that we have as bricks and mortar retailers, apart from the fact that even if we don't know what an omni-channel experience is, because there are many of us that sort of forget about it and think it's something to do with the larger big box retailers, but actually it really pertains to us, because this whole problem that we're experiencing about disconnected customer journeys, you know, where customers come to your website or your Facebook page or your Instagram social media page, and then they transition between these online and then these offline touch points, and like coming into your store or maybe ringing your store, there's a lack of cohesion that can happen from online to real life in store. And this can lead to frustration and decreased loyalty. The other thing that can happen as well is that, you know, one of the major problems is we're missing out on opportunities to personalize the customer experience. So by having an integrated omni-channel approach, we can gather information and we can from various sources, and we can enable this to personalize recommendations to our clients and customers from our point of sale system to online. And it just makes it a much more seamless experience. And the final thing is, like, really, we're just leaving so much money on the table by having, you know, this experience that some people have, customers of ours have online, and then coming into store, and it's just being a really unpleasant experience, and you're going to lose sales. So that's one of the major consequences. If you don't get this right, you are going to lose sales, because just think about it. And this has happened to you, if you've had a particular experience online and it doesn't transition to the same experience in store, you're going to go somewhere else. You're also going to get decreased customer loyalty, because inconsistent experiences will erode your customer experience. You're going to lose the trust, and your customers are simply going to go somewhere else, and heaven forbid, shop online. You're also going to reduce the customer lifetime value. Hopefully you know what that is. With many retailers I work with, unfortunately, we do not. But without effective omni-channel integration, you're going to struggle to engage customers beyond the one-off transactions that are happening within your store. And you're going to miss out opportunities to nurture long-term relationships and increase the lifetime value of the customer. So it's really, really important that you get that right. And, you know, once you get that right, you're going to it's going to lead to more sales. You're going to have far better, more happier customers. You're going to get increased cash flow, increased profitability. And really, you're going to position your bricks and mortar store as one of the few retailers within your community that's got this whole strategy right, this omni-channel right. And I think one of the big mistakes that bricks and mortar retailers make is we think there has to be this excuse me, this big blown strategy. I think it's from the term omni-channel that we get this wrong experience. But really, what I want to explain today is just really, it's all about the basics, as it usually always is when it comes to running our stores. And basically all the all the things that we need to do, right, to create this omnichannel experience. So I think the first thing is really about making sure that we have some sort of online presence. So I know many of us are running our businesses, our stores, and it's really hard to figure out what that might be. And I think that really comes from a few things. It comes from not understanding our customer journey. So we really need to get into the brains of what's happening with our customers, right? We need to understand. I'm always harping on about making sure that we understand our target market. So it's really important that we do that. We understand their preferences and their behaviors. And from then we can start to really understand what their preferred channels are on where they hang out socially or online, and then their touch points. And from the moment you need to map out, from the moment they discover your brand, your store, to post-purchase interactions, we need to map out the entire journey. And understanding our customers on a deeper level like this throughout the whole journey will help us align our online and offline efforts very, very effectively. So really, we need to stop, think. First step is knowing your target market. And I think the major issue that we have as bricks and mortar retailers is we're trying to be all things to all people. I talk about this nearly every week. So we want to make sure that we really focus in on who we're serving. Once we've done that, we can go really deeper into trying to understand where they hang out, which I've already mentioned about, and then the customer journey from the first touch point. So maybe it's through your social media platforms, and then ringing your store, and then actually coming into store. So we want to make sure that all this is seamless. And let's talk about that now. We want to integrate the offline and the online really, really well. So what does this mean, right? So one of the most basic things that you should set up, if you haven't already done so, and if you have set this up, make sure you go back and check, is your Google My Business profile. It is such a powerful tool because so many people use Google, so many people use their phones to search things. They look for X store near me. And by having something as simple as that all set up, and when I say set up, we need to make sure that we have your opening hours. Obviously, your address is correct, telephone number. So they're the basic things, website if you have it. But then we need to go beyond that. And you want to make sure that you're regularly updating your Google My Business profile. Because as we know, Google loves updates to websites. Google is all about collating information. And the more frequently that you update your Google My Business profile, the more frequently it'll get indexed. And when it comes to searching for your particular service or store within your area, you've got a greater chance of Google showing your particular business, right? And it also shows to your customer that you're engaged, because let's face it, we're living in this world, in this society now, where a lot of people, as a metric on how they gauge a business, whether you like it or not, you need to be seen as someone that's relevant. And you know what? You need to be relevant if you want to create a successful business, if you want to drive profitability in your business, and if you want to help solve your customers' problems. So that's the first thing. We need to make sure that you've got your Google My Business profile set up. And if you've already got it set up, you want to make sure that everything is really up to date. And then from there, it's really about integrating. So it's about looking at what you're creating in your Google My Business profile, from the language that you use to your about section to the photos. And you want to make sure that that transitions into, hopefully you want to be creating a friendly profile, something that resonates with potential clients and customers, your target market. And then you want to make sure that when they ring your store, they get the same experience. I'm going to talk about customer service training afterwards, but we need to make sure that that's all aligned. And then for when they come into your store, that's really all aligned with what's going on as well. Another really important thing to do is, quite often there is a disconnect between perhaps the efforts that we're doing online versus what's happening in store. Just really basic things like, you might get one of your assistants or one of your team members to do an Instagram video or a Facebook Live or something like that. And they mention a product, and then all of a sudden, you don't even stock the product, or they've mentioned the wrong price, or the wrong SKU, that it's not there anymore. So these are little mistakes that can be very, very consequentially big for you. So you want to make sure that you're providing a smooth experience for your potential clients. And you want to make sure that your pricing, products, promotions are harmonized across all your platforms. Another great thing to do, if you haven't already done so, is to make sure that you've got click and collect set up in your store, because that's, along with your Google My Business profile, that's so important in making sure that you have a seamless experience and creating this omni-channel experience for your customers as well. So you want to do that. Okay, and the final thing that you need to do is you really need to work on your team. So as we know, hopefully you know, your team is the heartbeat of your retail business. We need to make sure that they are trained to embody your brand and deliver a unified experience at every customer interaction. So as I was harping about on the previous slide, or what I was talking about before, you want to make sure that your team are friendly, and you want to make sure that the friendliness comes across through on your online channels into your in-store. And part of that is you want to make sure that you're effectively training your team, making sure you've got a system in place for training your team. You want to make sure that you foster effective communication between your online and your offline teams, if you have some. Perhaps you're big enough to have a social media team. So you really want to make sure that your social media team are really communicating and know what's happening in store as well. And that's so, so important. And we just want to make sure that everything is seamless in its coordination, seamless in its integration as well. And really, that's how you create a seamless omni-channel experience. One of the other major things that I didn't put on there that you can do is you really want to make sure that if you are having an e-commerce website, that marries perfectly with what's happening in your store, right? Just basically things like pricing, product SKUs, and all that kind of thing. That's there. However, there's one more part of the omnichannel experience that I really want to make sure that you really you hone it in, and that's the use of social media. So you want to make sure that how you're presenting yourselves on social media is friendly, it's indicative of what you're doing in store. And that's how you really, without spending a whole heap of money, can start to really capture, engage your target audience by creating this fantastic experience both in store and out of store. So if you there are the three main things that you need to do. I've got obviously a whole set of 10, 15 stuff that we do, but we do that with clients and how to integrate the omnichannel experience. Yeah. So like I said, if you want a copy of the worksheet, just pop the word worksheet below. So yeah, that's that. So in summary, if you nail the omnichannel experience, not only will you stand out from the crowd, because trust me, not a lot of bricks and mortar retailers are doing this because they're leaving it to the big players only because they think it's too hard. But really, it's just about doing the basics and thinking about having a seamless customer experience through your offline and online channels. And this obviously will lead to more sales because you're going to have consistency in what you're projecting across and consistency happening in store. It's going to lead to more cash flow, which will lead to more profits. And ultimately, you are going to get more customers because your customers are going to have this unified experience, and you're just making it so much easier for people to come and shop with you. So there you go. That's the end of this training. Like I said, if you want a copy of the worksheet, just pop the word worksheet below. And until a few weeks, catch you later. And